Okay, let's see. It says that recording on YouTube, and of course, this show, The Classroom, not only records live on Facebook, but it also records for podcasts. So for those of you who like podcasts, we are not recording yet. We record once the music starts. So you on Facebook and on YouTube get like an extended play. But today you get me as a life coach. I've been a lot of people have been presenting themselves with the same issue. And so I thought it's time to have a conversation about self-sabotage and how we can manage the thoughts in our head, how we can become conquerors over these thoughts. So fasten your seatbelts. We're going to learn and grow together. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. Cold, chilly, best day ever in Florida. And so today I am excited because it's a new day. And I am excited if this is the first time that you've tuned in to the classroom, just know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as I said before when I came on the air on Facebook, with, by the way, for those of you who want to tune in to our live broadcast and interact with our guests, interact with me, and be the first one to get the prize, then you can go to facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. So lately, people have been presenting themselves in my life that have the same reoccurring theme. And I must say that we all fall in this theme, including myself. It doesn't matter how, educated you are, or how little you know, or where you're at financially. We all have thoughts. We all have thoughts. How do we manage our thoughts? How do we control our thoughts? How do we create what we want with our thoughts? Well, at the beginning of the year, everybody's excited because we've got all these resolutions that we're going to make. It's a new year. People are celebrating and going, oh, I'm so glad 2019 is done. And now for 2020, this is going to be my life. And then 8 days later, they're ready to throw in the towel. What is the difference between the midnight strike of one year to the other, or the second strike between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, or midnight and 1 o'clock, or a Monday, or a Friday, or the beginning of the month? What is the difference? What causes us to believe the lie that somehow that second is going to change everything? So it's what we do with that second. So I'm asking you today, how are you doing on your resolutions? Are you still sticking to your commitment? That's the word, the commitment. And as I said, so many people have been presenting themselves in the classroom because as time goes by and reality comes in and sinks in, many people are saying, oh, I just can't do it. I am not enough to do this. Maybe I'll always be fat, or maybe I'll always be lonely. Maybe I'll always be. And so all of a sudden we're settling. We're settling for whatever it is that we think we deserve, or whatever it is we think that the universe will provide for us. So today I want to challenge you guys to look at your belief about yourself, your belief about what you either can create for yourself or not create for yourself. I want to challenge all of you to look beyond yourself and truly see the truth. So many months ago, I was looking at my vision board, and I was frustrated because what I wanted hadn't materialized yet. And in my vision board, the word believe was there. But of course, we cut this from a magazine, and the way it was set, the word was in white, but the IE in believe was in red. So it was in there, and I looked at my vision board every day. I am manifesting maniac. I am doing everything I possibly can to create what I want. But then all of a sudden, I saw that IE that was red, and right before it was an L. And I thought, wow, there's a lie, LIE, in the center of my belief. There's a lie at the center of our belief. And so today I want to dig into, what is the lie at the center of our belief? What is keeping us from the life that we desire? What is keeping us from our resolutions? Maybe because resolution just means I'm going to try. So I'm going to try to reach your nose. Yeah, I'm going to try, which means I want to look good. I'm not going to do it. But the word try to me, when I hear that, it just completely sets me into, yeah, you're not going to do it. So what are we going to commit to as we discuss the lie, the desire, whatever it is that you get out of this? Let's make a plan. Let's make a plan, because we're going to talk about what we want. What we want. So as a life coach, I said, all these people are presenting themselves. And when I'm listening to them, what I'm listening for are words that are anti what we want. So a lot of people don't want to be fat. A lot of people don't want to make mistakes. A lot of people, and I'm all of us. I mean, when I say a lot of people, I'm including myself in all of these. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to marry the wrong person. I don't want to make a mistake. So all these things is what we don't want. So what I'm listening for is what you do want. And it's amazing how when we make that tiny little shift of what we don't want to what we do want, how life all of a sudden changes. So I had shared this before in the classroom when I first met Dr. Bruce Lipton, and I heard about him. He wrote the book called The Biology of Belief. And I call him the father of epigenetics. I don't know if he holds that title, but for me, it's the first time I ever heard of epigenetics. And so I've imprinted my mind that Bruce Lipton is just unbelievable. And we're trying to get him back in the classroom as well. So when you're thinking about epigenetics, is above the brain, above the genetics, above the what we've been dealt with. So we have all our parents' genes, we have their DNA, and many people think that because my mom or my dad had diabetes or a heart attack or a stroke, or maybe had whatever it was, that we will also get it. But we've learned through science that it's not really just the DNA, that DNA is probably 3%. I've had, I believe Bruce Lipton says 3%. Some people, I say 5%, because I want to err on the side of cautious, because people get upset about this. They get upset that we have that much power, that it's not just our DNA. It's not just that. What we inherit are the recipes that get handed down, are the thoughts, the way we deal and manage with stress, the way we talk about the things that have happened to us in the past, the way we're ashamed and that we blame and that we refuse to take responsibility. Those are the things that get handed down. And so today, as I'm talking, I'm hoping that you are perhaps maybe doing a reevaluation, evaluating your mind, because this is where it all comes from. And so it's not what we know, it's what we don't know. We don't know. That just ain't so. And so with that in mind, and if you have a reoccurring thought or maybe a desire that just cannot, like you're trying to get to that desire and you're not quite getting it, text me at 407-373-5959, because what I want to do is I want to help you rewrite the program. So today we're going to rewrite the program so we stop the self-sabotaging thoughts. So first it's a thought, then it's a feeling, then it's an action. For those of you who've been following and watching, being a student in the classroom, you know this, that first it's a thought, that thought converts into a feeling, and that feeling converts into an action. And so from the age of 0, like in utero, to 7, for me it was a little bit older than that, but 7 years of age, we are human tape recorders. We are recording everything we see, and everything that you see will eventually become part of your subconscious mind. And so that is those are the thoughts in our head. Everything that you saw from 0 to 7, it's no wonder. And again, for me, it was older than 7 because I was like immature like that. So we have about 70,000 thoughts a day. Some people may have more, some people may have less, but approximately 70,000 thoughts a day. Of those 70,000 thoughts, 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. That's the recording that when we were little, some of those beliefs that we made about ourselves, some of the experiences that we had that we judged and made part of that cycle in our head. But 80% of those thoughts are negative. So that's where those self-sabotaging thoughts are so easy to have. And so very little of us, like if I'm doing something new, like when I'm doing the classroom, what I love about it is that I need to be present. So I'm in my conscious mind. I've got to be aware of what's going on. But many of the day, like I don't know about you, but sometimes where I'm driving, I'm going, where am I? How did I get here? Has that ever happened to you, or am I the only one that feels this? If this has happened to you, give me some thumbs ups, give me some hearts, tell me where you're from on Facebook, and also tell me if you're watching this on YouTube or later on podcast, if this is something that's ever happened to you. Well, that's your subconscious mind. You don't even have to think about it because it's so repetitious that it takes over. And the times that you're not thinking, the times that you're doing something new, that you are fully present, that is when you are in your conscious mind. But outside of that, you are living in all these thoughts, and everything is just happening, like breathing. We don't have to think about breathing, right? We don't have to think about blinking because it happens. So that's part of our body that is taking care of us when we're not even aware. So with that in mind, I want to share 2 little stories with you, and I'm going to make it as quick as possible because I've shared these stories before. But when I was 7 years old, or probably even, about 7, my second grade teacher had called on me, and we were on a row, and I was completely lost at the time because I was daydreaming, staring out the window. And when he called my name to read where we had left off, I started stuttering, and everybody started laughing at me. And for many years, I don't know why I couldn't read out loud. And it's because it took me to that place. And that teacher told me that I would never amount to much if I kept daydreaming. And then when I was about 9 or 10 years old, my paternal grandmother shared that if I stopped learning how to play the piano, that she would stop loving me. Now, both scenarios, both Mr. Torres and my grandmother, and by the way, Mr. Torres is the only teacher's name I remember. Go figure. We remember what imprints in our mind. So I know they were trying to motivate me, but in a way, it became part of who I thought I was and who I think I am at times when I'm most vulnerable, when I'm feeling vulnerable, when I feel that I am not enough. So enough with that. Enough with that. I took that person, that child, in everything I did. And even if I was considered successful at the time, in my eyes, I would never be successful. Do you see what I'm saying? That those thoughts, that recording that I had that was in the back of my head that I didn't even know was there, was driving me. So how do we rewrite the program? How do we stop all these different lies, the resolutions, the lies, the calling ourselves names, stupid, fat, ugly? When are we going to stop with that? So today we are going to figure out how we can tap into the subconscious mind, rewrite the program so that we can be about what we want. So I was talking to someone that I absolutely love, and they were telling me that there was something in them, and they've tried everything. They have tried so many different things to get whatever it is out of them, but they're stuck. They don't know what it is. They're stuck. And that's what I was hearing. Well, actually, what I actually said after that is, are you open? Are you just sharing with me? Are you venting? Or are you open for feedback? And so I'm asking you today, are you open for feedback? So if you ever feel that there's something and you just can't figure out what it is, maybe it's a discontentment. It's a discontentment that you know that is in there. But because of fear of the unknown, because it's not familiar to feel outside of that, we hold on to it and we say we don't know. And again, well, we don't know what we don't know just ain't so, because guess what? We do know. So I said to her, what if you knew? What do you think your body would tell you? And OMG, the story, the beautiful story, the gut-wrenching story, the stories that we all tell ourselves. If we allow permission to share the reason why we feel stuck, to share the reason why we're not abundant, the reason why we don't have the love we want, the reason why we don't have the business we want, or whatever the story, whatever you're longing for today. What if you knew? What if you gave your body permission to listen to what the mind has to say? Because, or maybe it's the opposite. What if the mind gave you permission to listen to what it had to say? How would your body be different today? How would your health be different today? How would you deal with your situation today? What if the body knew and the mind was protecting you by keeping it away from you? But if you were to say, I am ready to listen, I am ready for the change. Enough is enough. I am tired of the fear. I'm tired of pretending I don't know. And I've said this to myself too. This is not something I only say to others. We must be self-cleaning ovens. So are you ready to ask permission? Are you ready to tell your mind that it's okay to release whatever it is that's holding you back? I'm ready. Are you? If you're ready, let me know. And if you have any questions or if you have anything that you want to get rid of and release today, you could either text me at 407-373-5959, or you can post it. Just post it below in your comment section. But if you want it to be private, text me at 407-373-5959. Seneca, and his name is Lucius Seneca, and I did a little bit of research on him. He was born 4 BC, and he died 65 AD. So this isn't new, people. This isn't new, my friends. This isn't new, my inner self. This has been around from the beginning of time. And he said, we suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. Those 80% thoughts that keep coming that are negative, we just keep tearing ourselves apart. And most every doctor that comes on that is holistic, alternative, functional, says that 99% of all disease is due to past trauma, to the thoughts. I mean, yes, if you're having horrible thoughts that make you feel horrible, and somewhere in your belief, that lie and that belief says, oh, eat that cake, you'll feel better, because that's what you learned when you were recording before the age of 7, for me 10, but before the age of 10, someone said to you, oh, eat that cake, you'll feel better. Oh, you fell, here's a piece of candy, you'll feel better. Those thoughts don't support us anymore. They just don't support us. So what can we do to do that? So the question that I asked is, what if your body knew how to get unstuck, how to create? Because we do know. Write it down. Allow whatever expression that comes out to be written down. Honor it. Look at it. Love it. Embrace it. And work with it. But it only will happen. It will only happen if you give yourself permission. So, some of the things that we desire is to be in a healthy relationship. But that's not what we say. What we say is, I don't want to marry an alcoholic. I don't want to marry someone who's abusive. I don't want to marry someone who is, doesn't have dreams or doesn't want what I want. Or, you get the feeling that all we focus on is what we don't want. So if you can't get to what you want because you don't feel enough to achieve what you want, then start by writing down everything you don't want. So if you don't want to be fat, then write yourself, right after you write that, after you write everything, dump it all out of you. Just get it all out of you. Release it. Give your body permission to release it, or your mind permission to release it, so your body can all of a sudden start figuring out what they do want. So if you don't want to be fat, which is, I'm not even saying overweight. I'm not even saying, I'm looking at, I want to be healthy. I am healthy. I make great choices, because first it's the thought, I want health. Not, I don't want to be fat. So if we focus on not being fat, don't want to be fat, then we're going to feel fat, because first it's a thought, then it's the feeling, and then it's the action. The brain doesn't know fact from fiction. The brain doesn't know past from present. What you think, the brain will honor. So it'll say, be fat. There was a campaign many years ago, don't do drugs, right? Don't do drugs. They put it on pencils. They put it on all this. So what happened when these kids were sharpening their pencils, right? It got down to do drugs. And then it got down to drugs. So what we want is to be sober. And it doesn't matter how much you sharpen your pencil. Be sober. Sober is what we focus on. Does that make sense? If it makes sense to you, give me the thumbs up. Let me know where you're listening from. I'd love to see where you're from. And so, and again, if you have something that you want to release today, if you want to release it, then text me 407-373-5959. What are you wanting to release today so that you can achieve what you want? So some people don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick. Maybe some people have embraced being sick, and that's the life that they have accepted for themselves. But what if you don't want to be sick? What is the thought? I am healthy. I make good choices for my body. And we learn from Dr. Furman as a teacher in the classroom. Oh, Victoria, I'm so glad you're here. And Kimberly, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for watching today and being a part of this. So let me know what you want to release. So maybe some people don't have enough money and they're always looking about how little money they have in the bank, that they're not making enough money and all this. Shift it, that tiny little shift. I am abundant. I think abundant thoughts, I feel abundant, and I act abundant. That is how it works. It's no secret. So people call it the secret, the law of attraction. It's not a secret. If you read the Bible, if you think it, you have done it. So this isn't new from the beginning of time. So I am just sharing this because we have been conditioned. The lie at the center of our belief has been that the worst case scenario, prepare for the worst. And what if this goes wrong? Because we were trained to run from the tigers and run from the bears, oh my. But now our tigers and bears are the stresses that we put into our lives. Sometimes we create those stresses by the thoughts we think that haven't happened yet. It could be a thought from our past. Reliving our past creates depression. Focusing on our future and being worried about our future creates anxiety. So the only thing that we really have truly right now is right now. That's it. So right now, what do you want? What is that thing keeping you stuck? Do you need to have a conversation with your best friend? Do you need to have a conversation with your spouse? Do you need to have a conversation with yourself? Which I hope you do with yourself, and then create a plan, a loving plan that will lead to what you want. Because first it's a thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action. I once was driving to the gym. It was at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I heard this preacher on the radio. This is when I was doing radio. And I would listen to the station. And I was listening to the station. And there was this preacher. And you could tell that he was just like really into it. And he was saying, you know, if you want a car, all you have to do is manifest that car. Be looking at that car in your driveway. You don't even have to work. Just think about having that car. And it was as if I heard a record scratch. What the frick is he teaching? You don't even have to work for the car. Well, maybe in his world you don't. But in my world, and maybe that's a lie in my belief system, that I know that if I think I deserve a car and I am just going to sit in my house and wait for the car to show up and I just do nothing, chances are that I'm going to be wishing and manifesting. That's why many vision boards, that's why resolutions, because it's just a thought. But what if that thought converts into a feeling? Ooh, that car, I want that car. Now I'm going to make a plan. How can I make all the abundance that I want to create for that car. Now, could be that someone is generous and you find yourself in the middle of doing something and someone has a car and they're going to give you that car. But if you're not there, if you don't say yes to that thought, that feeling, and that action, you're not going to be anywhere to be found. First you ask, then you seek, then you knock. It's time to knock. It's time to look at the committee in your head. So Mark Travis, I went to Mark Travis, visit him in California, and because I could not look into a camera. And I remember it was a contest that I had joined that they were going to give us free coaching. This was Hay House was going to give free coaching to do a 5-minute video. And every time I would look into the camera, I would forget my name. I didn't know who I was. And I remember after like 20 takes, the frustration. Why can't I just tell my story just looking into the camera? And one of the reasons I started recording the classroom is because I needed to overcome that. But before that, I didn't realize that it was because I still wasn't enough. I was still that ugly little girl that was unlovable when that camera came on. And I remember telling my husband, that's it, I can't do this anymore. And I was so frustrated because he couldn't understand something that came so naturally for him was like this major thing. And because I had the reading problem where I can't read out loud, I just couldn't memorize my script. It was all in my head. It wasn't real. And the more I focused on that ugly little girl that just couldn't say, why I was passionate about sharing this information in the classroom. I remember just going and chopping vegetables. I was just like, I took a break. And I'm in tears. I was in angry tears. I was so frustrated because I wanted that so bad and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And here I am chopping these vegetables. I'm surprised I didn't break the cutting board. Saying, I am a life coach. I have worked through these issues before. What's wrong with me? There was nothing wrong with me. I just needed to release, give my body permission to look into that camera and say, I am enough. I am enough. And so are you. So are you. So is everybody. But that lie at the center of our belief keeps us from what we want. So what if you could never, like I have heard so many people, I've said this, I could never get up there and speak. And I remember choosing that for myself, not knowing this is when the yes came a part of a life. Yes became a part of my life. And I was asked to give a talk. And I said yes. And I figured out how to do it. Because first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action. I needed to create an action plan that would work for me. And by the way, this was many years before I tried doing the video. So we still have these little pieces in us. And just when you think you are whole, you discover there's a little tiny missing piece. Do you let yourself be without that piece, or do you go seeking for that piece? And I'm not just talking about a piece, I'm talking about the piece within us too. So when we are in that situation, I was talking about Mark Travis. I just came back to that. My brain just caught up with my emotion. So when I went to visit Mark Travis, and it was Write Your Life, he he was in the classroom, and he was like, I can help you look into the camera. I help people in Hollywood. So I flew all the way to California to look into a camera, to tell my story, to write my story. And it was still so frustrating. It was like, will I ever be able to overcome what it is I really desire? And I remember him saying that we have voices in our head, but he has a committee. And one of the members in his committee is Vic. And Vic is vicious inner critic. That's what Vic stands for. And I absolutely adopted that. I thought, okay, who is the voice in my head? What are they telling me? And how can I rewrite the program? And that is what we all get to do today. We all get to examine our belief. So what if you're afraid of making a mistake? How can you rewrite the program? Then rewrite mistake. I remember telling Valentine, what's his name? Valentine. Radley Valentine. Oh, Radley, I just feel like such a fluke. Because I've fallen into everything. Even this classroom, I've fallen into it. And it was a shame. A word, fluke, was a shameful word. Like, I didn't earn this. I didn't work for it. I didn't deserve it. And you know what he said? As he's like shuffling cards, doing the tarot cards that he does, Radley Valentine, which he's so wonderful. He said, fluke, what a magical word. You mean I can change the meaning of that word? Wow, amazing. I get to change the meaning? Okay, so what about mistake? Oh, I'm afraid of making a mistake. What if I change the word mistake to, I am going to embrace growth opportunities? I was not even able to say that properly. What if I change the word mistake to growth opportunity? Now that's magical, just like fluke. What if we can change that reoccurring 80% thoughts? So I don't want to get sick. I am healthy. But how do I stay healthy? I make good choices, not, I can't have that cake today. No, I choose to eat something that is going to support my desire. I don't have any money. I am abundant. It is my right to be abundant. So what can I do to create abundance in my life? I'm afraid of public speaking, which is what I said to myself. But you know what? Scared became, I'm excited about public speaking. And look at what you ask for, you get. And now it's in my comfort zone. Ask me to get up and share from my heart. Don't ask me to read. But sometimes I do have like bullet items because I wanted to speak to you from my heart. And I see that we have some comments. Yay! Let me see. And of course, where is my magnifying glass? Oh, there it is. Ah, found it. Okay, so. Yeah, you drew the blank too? Okay, Victoria, that's what. I just decided before tuning into the show to seek my missing piece with my money blocks. Beautiful, beautiful. And Rosie, little Rosie Sunshine, growth opportunity. Okay, well, good. We're all on the same page. So changing the word to excitement. So how many times someone says, how are you? Oh, my hip hurts. My head hurts. My sciatica. My fibromyalgia. My. Oh, my. We've got to figure out How do we rewrite the program? So yesterday, for those of you teachers' pets that were in the classroom yesterday, I found a tool, and you don't even have to get the headset. And if you, let's see, what was it? Like, share, and tag. And I'll hold that for today too. So this little thing, it's like just an amazing tool called Brain Tap. I love my Brain Tap. I've been brain tapping for a while now, and I've been rewriting my program because we all have lies that we tell ourselves about what we want. I want abundance. So, what is keeping you from your abundance? What is keeping? And if we're really, truly honest, what would you think is keeping you from that abundance? Write a plan to create abundance and believe it. Because I remember once I realized that there was a lie in the center of my belief, I went out and I found another word that was all white and it said believe on there, belief on there. So whatever it is, belief, doesn't matter. There's still a lie in the center of the belief. And it was all white. And I started to rewrite the program. What are the lies about me that I keep telling myself? So if you focus on what you don't want, which you don't want to be poor, you don't want whatever it is that you're telling yourself, I don't have enough money, I don't have a nice job, I don't have whatever it is, write everything you don't want down. If you don't know what you want, write everything down that you don't want. And then when you're done with that exercise, write on the right side of it, that same column, right next to it, I don't have the love I want. Then you focus on creating the love you want. I am lovable. I am enough to discover the love that I want. But then write down 25 attributes that you want for your next soulmate, for the person that you're going to feel comfortable with. And then circle 5 of the deal breakers. Like, you will not compromise on those because, you might be looking for someone with blue eyes, right? But then you go out with someone with blue eyes, you go, it's not really important. So brown eyes is fine too, or whatever it is, just, I'm trying to be shallow, like shallow Hal. But anyway, so those are the things that once you create the plan, because a thought without action is just a thought. A feeling without action is just a feeling. So you can have a feeling that is, I am depressed, which I had a conversation with someone today that said, I am depressed. And I said, why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? And the story that came out, we suffer more in our imaginations than we do in reality. That was a quote from Seneca, Lucius Seneca, born on 4 BC, died AD, 65 AD. What are you capable of doing? What have you been able to create? What are you good at? And figure out a way to create the abundance that you want, doing what you love. Now, if it doesn't pay, then figure out a way someone can sponsor you, which, by the way, I need to talk about my sponsors, because if I don't, then there would be no classroom. And so with that in mind, I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. I want you guys to send me some love, some hearts, some likes, and I want you, and if you want to get a 15-day trial for Brain Tap, you don't need to have the headset. You can do it with earphones. On your phone, it's an app that you download. So if you have an Android, if you have just the things you have to do is you need to like this page, share this post, and tag somebody. Let them know that the classroom is open and available. And so I want to encourage you to go to my sponsors. When you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, whenyouneedafriend.com, click on the subscribe. Please put in your email address. And there's always going to be an email saying, did you really subscribe? You have to say yes, because only if you subscribe, that doesn't get you there. And then you get gifts and prizes and all that stuff when you become a subscriber. Then you know who's going to be in the classroom and what time we're going to be on. And you have all the scoop before anybody else does. And so when you go there and you like and you follow and you subscribe on my YouTube channel, and if you like podcasts, you can subscribe there too. Go to my sponsors page. In my sponsors page, sponsors like Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care, Dr. Stephen Grable, The Pharmacy, Live Longer Medical, Ground Therapy. And if you go to Ground Therapy and you can shop there, you can also shop for Brain Tap as well on my shopping bag. And those are the sponsors who have taken a stand and said, I want to support your platform. I want to support your message. And hopefully the message that you're getting from us today or from me today is ownership. Stop with the blame. It's ownership. Yes, you may have had a tragic past, but that past has purpose. And that pain has purpose. And that purpose gives passion. And that passion helps you be the unique you that you are. So check out my sponsors and figure out ways that you can support our sponsors the way they support the classroom. And finally, you can become an enrolled student. And how do you do that? You go to my enroll student page and you can give your time, your talent, or your treasure. Help us grow the classroom in any way you can, because it is free. And because it is free, the way you say thank you is by supporting however you can. And so that is part of what the yes is today. And so, and I will read your comments in a little bit. Oh, Kimberly, you said you love the meditation. Oh, you guys have written up a lot. I need to catch up with you guys here. Okay, so there's a lot. I need to. Okay, so now, okay. So this little tool right here will help you rewrite the program. And I absolutely love it. Patrick Porter was in the classroom yesterday. You can listen to it. You have the infrared lights for the ears and the lights for the eyes, and that communicates with the brain even when you are in a relaxed theta mode, and that it puts you deeper into hypnosis. And meditations are awesome tool to help with blocks. Absolutely, they are. And I know, Kimberly, that you might be brain tapping. I don't know if you've done the more meditations there too. So with going back, the reason why we're doing the classroom today is the self-sabotaging thoughts. Being honest with yourself. So if you don't know why you're stuck, give your body permission. Tell yourself a story. And now tell yourself the real story. Because whether you are empowered or disempowered, empowered or a victim, empowered or not enough, you still have the choice to choose to rewrite the word, rewrite the program, rewrite the end result of the story. The stories are the same. You can tell the same story as a victim and tell the same story as an empowered person, and both stories are true. Because if you believe it, that's your reality. But if you rewrite the story so that you are choosing what happened. I chose this for myself, whether you were beaten up every night before you went to bed, whether you were hungry every night before you went to bed, whether you were in in a relationship that you didn't want to be in, whether you couldn't pay your bills, no matter what story you tell yourself, the end result was that lesson was for you. That lesson was for you. It was to create who you are, to give you compassion, to give you understanding, to make you see that everything that happens to us has purpose. And you take that and you answer the 4 questions of responsibility without blame, fault, shame, or duty that you can find at whenyounneedafriend.com in my responsibility page. How did I create it? What are the gifts and lessons? What's going to be different? And how can I use this for the greater good? And of course, I've done classes on this. I'm not going to go into that so much. But take a good look at why things are not happening. Because when you start having that lack-mindedness, I don't have because I don't afford. I can't afford is not a word anymore. It's not a priority. Because if you can't afford it, then you're focusing on what you can't afford. But if it's not a priority, then wait for when it happens. It'll be beautiful. Do you see that simple shift in words, how it changes the energy in your body? How it changes everything? A simple shift. What are you willing to shift today? Is it lack of forgiveness? Someone hurt you so bad? And this is so difficult if you want it to be difficult. But it is beautiful if you want it to be beautiful. And I've told the story, and I don't know if I'll have enough time to tell the story because we have like 5 minutes left, and then I can tell it afterwards if you want, after the podcast is over. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast right now, you can always join us at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. And if you can't find Lillian's Radio Show, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, click on my Facebook button, and it'll take you right there. So the story, I'll tell you the story. I'm going to write it down. Remind me, guys. Oh, I am so forgetful. Not anymore. Not anymore. I remember everything because your brain only knows what you tell it. So, what was this thing I was going to tell you again? The story of the woman whose son was killed. Her only son. So if you want to hear the story, then be the first one to tell me. I want the story. Okay. So take a good look. If we know that our thoughts create our reality, and we're focused on being sick and focusing, Robert, my husband, laughs at me when he says, "How are you feeling, honey?" I say, "I feel fantastic. I feel great. I feel phenomenal." And he says to me, "So I'm never going to hear the truth, huh?" That is the truth I want. So you know, by the way I'm limping, perhaps maybe I'm not feeling that well, but my body is getting better each day and it's healing. Plus I'm grounding, So the pain, I know the inflammation is going to go down, right, Victoria? Victoria is grounding too. And how many of you are grounding as well? So here is what we do. We do these things. And we need to choose to forgive. I choose to forgive because I release anger. Because it's not the snake bite that kills you. It's the venom that runs through your blood. So, forgiveness is key. Release it. Release the anger, the judgment of self and others. Release it. And even if you're accused of judging people and you know you're not judging them, that's what they believe. Let them know that you love them unconditionally. Instead of saying, I don't judge you. No, I'm so sorry you felt judged. That was not my intention. My intention is to love you unconditionally. Please forgive me if you felt that way. You're not saying that you judge them. But there's so many different ways to start attracting what we want. Start loving ourselves. Rewrite the program in our head. You can use tools. You can use meditations. You can use your awareness and rewrite the program. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide. WhenYouNeedAFriend.com. We're going to have a conversation afterwards. So please stay with us. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. I hope you said it with me. There you go.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay. I am loving all these comments, and I hope that you do share this with anyone that you would love to work with. Like, have an accountability partner, a thought accountability partner. So that thought accountability, anytime you say something that doesn't support you, how can we rewrite the program? So if I am stressed out, then the word, what you can do is say, okay. I'm doing too much, or let me see, how can I change this? How can I change? First is the thought, I'm stressed. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? Not what are you doing to me? What am I doing? It could be that you're listening to what somebody else is saying about you. And honestly, it's none of your business what people think of you. That was very liberating for me because I really cared. And I still do in a way. Especially if I'm doing something that is hurting others, I do want to know. And I want to rectify it. But if somebody wants to hold on to the resentment and the anger and the bitterness, then it's like kryptonite. I can't do anything about that. And we carry these feelings like a badge of honor. So if somebody made you feel a certain way, they lied. Rewrite the lie. Rewrite the program. Think of them as they were abused. They believe that about themselves because people see in you who they are. Does that make sense? Can I get an amen? Okay, so little Rosie Sunshine says, or the lie someone else told us about ourselves from their perspective, and we took it on board and let it sink deep inside us. Well, that's what I did. That's what we do. I mean, many of us do that. And so how do we rewrite the program? Just become aware that that's the lie we bought into. And so because it's the lie we bought into, then we have got to rewrite the program. So for every one time that you say that to yourself, say it to yourself 50 times, that the opposite, what you do want to focus on. And stick to it because you are enough and you are worthy. And so Victoria says, I want to hear, oh, you want to hear the story? I know, I remembered because I remember everything. So I learned that from Marissa Peer. She would say to her children, like, people I forget everything. I have a horrible memory. And so she says, okay, stop saying that and start remembering. Say, I remember everything. And Kelly and Rebecca from the Keep Me Safe Organics girls, I say that out loud all the time with them because I remember when I packed to go, I used to say, oh, I hope I don't forget something. I hope I don't forget I hope I don't forget. And that's how I packed. And usually when I was out the door, in the car, on my way, I forgot something. And my husband would concur. He would like agree with I forgot something. And so so now it's, I remember everything. And so Marissa says when her kids would come in like, oh, I forgot my lunch money, or I forgot my keys, or I forgot my shoes, I forgot my this. She'd say, when the kids would come in, she'd say, what did you remember? Oh, I remembered to get my keys. I remembered to do. So instead of being forgetful, so this is how you rewrite the program. I remember everything. It's just like the day that I met Louise Hay. And I said, I can't wait to hear I was talking to Heather Dane at the time. I can't wait to hear your talk. And Louise said, You look forward to it, my dear. You look forward to it. I'm like, excuse me? What are you talking about? I look forward to it. Oh, I can't. So the brain doesn't understand do, don't, can't, will. It just understands the command. And our brain misinterprets sometimes. Like, I want to forget my childhood. Let me give you dementia. I want to forget that person. I will never forgive them for as long as I live. Well, let me give you a disease so that you die sooner. That is how the brain honors you. So if you tell your brain, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to even love, not in I'm going to have like drinks with them, the person who hurt you, but you love them from afar. So let me see what else, other comments. And Victoria's on her mat. So am I. So I have my feet on my mat. By the way, you can go to my whenyouneedafriend.com and check out the mats there. Grounding therapy, which I absolutely love. Okay, so let me make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. Okay, so the story about the woman whose only son was killed. So this woman sat through the trial of her son who was killed. And the boy that killed her son was no more, he was about the same age, in his teens, killed his son. And the judge sentenced him. The woman, the mother, got to speak because they were going to give him the death penalty. And they gave him a sentence of life without parole. And I don't know if it was life without parole. Not important with the details. I am gonna nail this. Okay. So what happened was, once the young man was sentenced to prison, the woman walked beside him and she said, I am going to kill you. And she walked away. So the young man went to prison. And she went to visit him in prison. And little by little, as she kept going back to the young man, they became a family. And eventually, she helped him get an education while he was in prison. And this woman just kept visiting him every week. And then those weekly visits turned into, every month. And those monthly visits turned into every week. And those weekly visits turned into almost every day. And this young man wasn't visited by his family, but he was visited by the woman who he killed, her son, whose son he had killed. And then this young man was being released for good behavior. And she actually spoke on his behalf for his parole. But he didn't have a place to go to. So she offered him a place to stay. And this young man who killed her son now would be living in her home. And she educated him in college. And he could not understand why she was so kind. And one day he said, if it weren't for you, I would have no family. I would have no education. I would have no one to love me. And she said, do you remember when I walked by you and I said, I'm going to kill you? And he said, yes, I've never forgotten that. And she said, well, I did. The new man you are is not the man that went to prison. We can rewrite. We can choose forgiveness. We can choose to love. But it is a gift. Not just that man one, the young man who became, the kid who became a young man, who learned unconditional love, who learned to detach himself from the ego, from the life of crime that he was destined to live. She saw beyond that young man. She saw his essence. And so if there's somebody who rubs us the wrong way, we can choose that exercise. We can choose to understand that this person is giving us a lesson too. Because had that woman not lost her son, she would have never known what true forgiveness was like. What a gift. What a gift. There are many of us, and there was a story, and I tried to share this story the other day. Oh, let me see. Yes. Thank you, Victoria. How encouraging, she says. So there was a story that I heard a long, long time ago about people, a person who just could not handle the cross they were given. It was so big. And they complained about the cross they were given. And one day, this person was given the opportunity. Was it in a dream or in that meditation? To turn in this cross, to go to God and say, God, I just cannot deal with this burden anymore. And God says, okay, put your cross down, put your burden down, and pick any burden in this room of burdens. Others have left their burdens here. You can pick whatever you want. Put your cross down and find one. And they walked around and they looked and they looked and they saw, and that one was too big and that one was just massive. Ooh, I don't know if I want this cross. Then all of a sudden, he saw this tiny little cross sitting in the corner of the room. He ran to that cross, and as he picked it up, he says, this is the burden I want. This is the cross I want to bear. And God said, perfect. It's the one you came in with. And that's what we get to choose. We get to choose that burden that we come in and not even look at it as a burden. We look at it as a choice to learn the gifts and lessons, to become compassionate, to become unconditional. So I don't know if this makes any sense to you, or if you're still listening. But I will tell you that when you change, and Max Planck said this, and of course I heard Wayne Dyer say it, but I'm going to give Max Planck the credit, and Wayne Dyer, because he was the one that repeated it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Are you looking at lack? Are you looking at how to figure out your abundance? What is your belief about abundance? What is the lie at the center of your belief about abundance? You get to figure it out. Journal about it. Figure out a plan. Come up with three things you are willing to do today to get closer to your plan. Could it be, if I'm just going to choose lack? You know, you want to make money. I want abundance. I want to be wealthy. I want to have whatever it is. I think we could all relate to that, right? So what are the three things you are willing to do today to create that abundance? Is it do a budget, live by the budget, and by this date, I will have X amount, save this kind of money? Where is it that I am wasting money? Where is it that I am wasting time? I have heard so many people say, I don't have a minute of the day. And then they spend half an hour telling me how they're so busy. I want to say, whoa, don't spend another minute telling me how busy you are. Get to work. That's how we lie to ourselves. Somehow busyness might equate success. So we're busy all the time. What is busyness equal to you? It may equal something different to me. So What are you willing to do today? And of course, I got to break into song. The great philosopher Meatloaf says, I would do anything for fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks. And it's love. But then it could be health, weight loss. It could be working on myself so that I can be open to receiving gifts, getting rid of clutter so I can receive abundance. What is it? What is it that we need to release so that we can make room for more? But the words after is, because I remember everything, but I won't do that. What are you willing to do? Now, what you're not willing to do? So you've got your assignment. You're welcome to share it with me if you'd like. You can send me a private message. And also, hey, by the way, I qualify for doing more things with Facebook, but because I need more like, what do you call it? Interaction or what is the word? Engagement. Yeah, that's it. Engagement. Like, follow, tag, share, do all those things to help me grow the platform in Facebook. Please help me do that because that's what I want. I want to be able to share this information to empower everyone that is wanting to be empowered. I'm tired of force feeding people. I will share, but if you don't want to hear it, then that's good. That's fine. I can be invitation. You don't have to come to my party. You don't have to. So what I'd love for you to do is like, follow, share, tell your friends to do the same. Because, I have like I don't even know how many followers I have. I think it's almost 4,000. I have no idea how many followers I have. But if all of you shared, like, follow, we could double that. We could triple it. You can send it to your friends. So help me, because that's my desire. I want to triple, quadruple. I want to have that little green check mark by the side of my name. Help me do that so that we can continue doing this show in the classroom and attending the classroom for free. Because you know how many times I've been told, oh, you need to charge to be a part of the classroom? I don't want to do that. But what I do want is your help. So I hope that today's conversation has been helpful to you. If so, send me some love, send me some likes, and tell your friends to do the same. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Like this. If you're watching on YouTube, make some comments below. Does this make sense to you as well? And if you're listening on, no, I can't say listening on podcasts because they're not listening to this anymore. So please help me and let's continue to grow together. And I look forward to our next conversation. Let me see if I can say, let me get off the air here and I will see you guys soon. Bye. See you, YouTube.